Hola a todo el mundo y bienvenido a mi canal. Yo me llamo Sidney. Soy una abogada paulatina licenciada criticando la ley criminal, pero como todos ustedes, a mí me fascina cuando estamos hablando de casos de crímenes reales. En este video vamos a seguir hablando de Sean Diddy Combs. Si quieres más video en español, más dime allá abajo. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Desiree. I'm a licensed and practicing Afro-Latina criminal attorney who, much like the rest of you, has a severe fascination with true crime cases. Listen, let's start this video off with a moment of silence, okay? Because I'm sure you guys have noticed that I have toddler nails on right now. I wanted to do a little something different. I don't know if I regret it or not, but this video is not about me. We're going to continue on in our multi-part saga of the man, the myth, the mogul, the legend, again, whatever you'd like to call him, Sean Diddy Combs. In our last video, we did a brief recap of everything that happened during the second week of Diddy's trial. So in this video, we're going to catch back up with what happened during the third week of trial. I will note, however, my recap of the testimony of what witnesses have said is just going to be that, a recap, okay? It's not everything that they've testified to ever. I'm trying to summarize it so we can talk about it. That being said, let's get started. The third week of Diddy's trial began on Tuesday, May 27 of 2025. If you'll remember, last week was a holiday week, so court was not in session for that Friday, nor was it in session that Monday, which happened to be Memorial Day. So we kicked things off on Tuesday, May 27th of 2025. On this day, the prosecution called their 17th witness, Diddy's former director of marketing, Capricorn Clark. Capricorn's testimony was directed by Ausa Mitzi Steiner. Capricorn stated that she has been involved in the music industry for a very long time, and she landed an internship with Def Jam Records shortly after she graduated from high school. Capricorn stated that both of her parents died shortly after she began that internship, so she had to figure her life out a lot earlier. After Def Jam, Capricorn worked for Death Row Records, which was managed by Diddy's all-time rival, Suge Knight, at the time. She stated that around 2004, she started working as Diddy's personal assistant at Bad Boy Entertainment. She stated she briefly left Bad Boy in 2006, and then she returned in 2007 as the director of marketing for Sean John Women's Line. She said she became a global brand director in 2008 and was ultimately fired in 2012. She then worked as Cassie's creative director from 2016 to 2018. She said that Diddy threatened her on her very first day at work in 2004. Capricorn said that Diddy took her to Central Park with his security guard at some point after 9 p.m. Capricorn stated that while there, Diddy brought up her former employment with Death Row Records. She stated that Diddy told her that he didn't know that she had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill her. Capricorn stated that the security guard stood silently as Diddy threatened her life. She said that she responded to Diddy with, "We'll just have to see." Capricorn further stated that she couldn't convince Diddy that she was trustworthy at the time, and further admitted that she could have been more transparent about her employment background. Capricorn said when she was Diddy's personal assistant, she heard him discuss guns on one occasion. Capricorn stated that Diddy and his then manager got into an elevator after Diddy did an MTV event that also involved rapper 50 Cent. Diddy then told his elevator companion that he had an issue with 50 Cent and further stated, quote, "I don't do that. I like guns." Capricorn said that Diddy's demeanor was extraordinarily serious. Capricorn said that Diddy accused her of stealing some diamond jewelry that was loaned to him from a jeweler. Capricorn stated that she was assigned to hold Diddy's jewelry for him as he traveled from New York to Miami. Capricorn stated that she realized that the bag that was holding the jewelry went missing before they got to the airport. Capricorn stated although she was supposed to join Diddy for that trip to Miami, once she told him that the jewelry was missing, he advised her to stay in New York. Capricorn then stated that Diddy left her with a security guard who questioned her for hours and then searched her apartment. Capricorn stated the very next day, the security guard picked her up from her home and left her in a locked, vacant office space with another man who administered a lie detector test to her. When asked to describe the man, Capricorn stated that this man was huge, about 5 times her size, and was smoking a cigarette. Capricorn further stated the man told her that if she failed the test, that they were going to throw her into the East River. Capricorn stated that Diddy required her to take multiple lie detector tests after accusing her of stealing. At one point, Capricorn said the man administering the test told her she needed to calm down because her results were inconclusive. Capricorn stated that considering the circumstances, she merely couldn't just calm down. Capricorn stated that eventually one of Diddy's security guards took her to her home and picked her up the next day to repeat the exact same process. Capricorn stated she was taken to the same vacant office building for questioning with the lie detector test for an additional 5 straight days. She said she didn't want to do it, but she thought the lie detector test was the only way to prove her innocence. Capricorn stated she did not report the incident to police because she worked under a non-disclosure agreement. It's important to note that during Capricorn's testimony, when she mentioned the non-disclosure agreement, defense objected. The court sustained the objection and told the jurors to disregard it. After 5 days of tests, Diddy's security guards told Capricorn she could return to work. Capricorn stated that she returned to work and Diddy acted like he didn't just put her through days of rigorous testing. She said she is unaware if the jewelry was ever found. Capricorn stated that she typically worked from 9 a.m. until 4 a.m. and did not take any breaks for meals. Capricorn stated that Diddy told her if she failed to complete any tasks, she would lose her job. Capricorn stated that on a good night, she got 4 hours of sleep, but she eventually developed alopecia from the stress of working for Diddy. Capricorn further stated that she made $65,000 a year at the time with her employment with Diddy. Capricorn stated when she was Diddy's personal assistant from 2004 to 2006, she spoke with a human resources representative that presented Diddy with a sheet that calculated Capricorn's overtime at $80,000 for a 3-month period. Capricorn stated when she presented the sheet to Diddy, he ripped the paper up and told her to get back to work. Capricorn stated that Diddy used different aliases when he traveled and booked hotel rooms. In case it wasn't abundantly clear, from prior testimony, from prior witnesses, Capricorn Clark further confirmed that Diddy's aliases included the names Frank White and Frank Black. Capricorn testified that the name Frank Black was referenced to the late Notorious B.I.G. because his nickname was Frank White. Capricorn further stated she would unpack all of Diddy's clothes and shoes and put them in place in the hotel room. Capricorn stated that Diddy traveled with a toiletry bag that contained drugs and a camera box, which had 4 cameras along with a small bottle of baby oil and a small bottle of lubricant. Capricorn stated that after Diddy's stay, she would sweep the room for anything that was left behind. She stated as she was cleaning up the room, she would see damage to the rooms, including handprints left in oil. Capricorn stated that she saw Diddy using ecstasy and Molly about once a week, but he would also take prescription medication. Capricorn stated that Diddy's drug use increased over time. Capricorn confirmed that Diddy got his drugs from a man named One Stop when they were in Los Angeles. Stop right here and remember that Diddy's other personal assistant, David James, did confirm and did further state that Diddy's drug dealer was a man named One Stop. So Capricorn is just merely corroborating that testimony. Capricorn further stated that the drugs were either delivered to her or Diddy directly. Capricorn stated that Diddy asked her to get him ecstasy fewer than 10 times. Capricorn stated that Diddy offered drugs to his friends and his girlfriends. Capricorn stated that during a trip to France in 2006, Diddy asked her to get cocaine, and when she asked Diddy who it was for, he responded it wasn't for him. She then stated because she was reluctant, Diddy had the security guards obtain the drugs for him instead. Capricorn stated she would often pick up Diddy's prescription medications. She said sometimes the prescriptions were made out to her directly and other times they were made out to Diddy. Capricorn recalled one time where Diddy had earned 100,000 euros from a club booking in Europe and that she personally counted that money out for him. Capricorn stated she believed Diddy kept the money in a personal safe in his bedroom. Just because I wanted to be clear and provide you guys with all the information, I did the conversion for you, okay? So 100,000 euros translates to over 113,000 US dollars. Capricorn said that she was at Diddy's Miami home in the summer of 2006, and when she arrived, Diddy told her, I don't care what you got going on this weekend. You are not to leave this house. Capricorn said that Diddy told her to escort another guest to another location in Miami, and she stayed for about an hour before she received a call from him asking where she was. Capricorn said when she returned to Diddy's home, he told her, "See, your problem is you want a life, and you cannot have that here." And again, he told her not to leave the house. Capricorn said she told Diddy's chef, "I hate it here," and the chef relayed the message to Diddy. Capricorn said that upon learning the news that she didn't like it there from the chef, Diddy then began pushing her and demanding that she leave his house. Capricorn further clarified that Diddy pushed her about 30 yards, using about 75% of his force. Capricorn stated that eventually one of Diddy's security guards intervened by telling him to stop. Capricorn said she left her job after this incident because it was crossing her boundary. Capricorn stated after this brief leave from Diddy's company, she did return in 2006, but she did not work directly under him. Capricorn stated that she accepted the director of marketing position for Sean John's women's line at that point because she didn't want to work directly with Diddy. Capricorn further clarified she did not want the direct proximity to him. In relation to her role with Cassie, Capricorn stated that she had final approval over Cassie's appearance and what opportunities Cassie could and could not take. Capricorn stated she knew that Cassie was dating Kid Cudi in December of 2011. Capricorn stated that she would sometimes hang out with Kid Cudi and Cassie. Capricorn said one time she told Cassie to delete the text messages between herself and Cassie because Diddy paid for both of their phones at the time and she didn't want them to get caught. Capricorn stated she was very concerned that Diddy would find out about the relationship between Cassie and Kid Cudi. Capricorn stated she took Cassie to Best Buy to buy a burner phone. Capricorn stated that one day in December 2011, Diddy showed up at her house with a gun. Capricorn stated that when she opened the door, she noticed the gun and that Diddy was furious. Capricorn stated that Diddy then asked her, "Why didn't you tell me about Kid Cudi?" Capricorn stated that Diddy then told her to get dressed and said, "We're going to kill him." Capricorn stated she told Diddy that she didn't want to go, but he proclaimed, "I don't give an F what you want to do. Go get dressed." Capricorn stated she was afraid, and this was the first time ever Diddy had been to her LA home. Capricorn stated that she and Diddy got into the backseat of a car that one of Diddy's security guards was driving, and there was a gun in Diddy's lap. Capricorn stated that they then drove to Kid Cudi's home, and while Diddy and his security guard were inside the home, Capricorn remained in the vehicle. Capricorn stated when Diddy and the security guard entered the home, she called Cassie on the burner phone number. Capricorn stated that when the phone call concluded, she then changed Cassie's name to Stormy in her phone. But when Diddy re-entered the vehicle, he asked Capricorn who she was talking to, called the number back, and discovered it was Cassie. Capricorn stated that Diddy then threatened to murder her if police were ever to be told about his involvement in Kid Cudi's home break-in. Capricorn then said that Diddy asked her to call Cassie and state that Diddy wouldn't let her go unless Cassie arrived. Capricorn said that when she told Cassie this, Cassie merely responded, "I'll be right there," and eventually did show up. Capricorn stated during one occasion, she saw Diddy kick Cassie repeatedly, asked his security guards to intervene, but the security guard would not, and she eventually called Cassie's mother. Capricorn estimated that Diddy threatened to kill her about 50 times between December 2011 when he found out about Cassie and Kid Cudi, and that following summer. Capricorn stated that Diddy refused to allow her to be friends with Cassie following the Kid Cudi incident. Capricorn said she was fired in August of 2012 and accused of taking an improper vacation. She later confirmed for the prosecution that she was actually on vacation with Rihanna. Capricorn said that after she was fired, Diddy told her she'd never work again, but eventually the pair settled in the fall of 2012 over wrongful termination allegations. Unlike some of the settlements we discussed previously in Diddy's case, the amount of Capricorn's settlement with Diddy was not disclosed. After she could not find other employment, Capricorn returned to work for Diddy in 2016. Capricorn stated that during that time, she noticed an increase in Cassie's drug use. Capricorn stated she left the position in 2018, and that was the last time she worked for Cassie. Capricorn said she retained attorneys in 2023 after Cassie's lawsuit against Diddy because the lawsuit left her traumatized. Before we get into what happened during Capricorn's cross-examination, let me tell you that by all accounts, Capricorn is the strongest witness that has stepped foot on that witness stand thus far. Capricorn was credible. She was so strong in her storytelling. She knew exactly what happened. She could pinpoint, she could provide details, and that was just so incredibly damaging. It was so incredibly damaging for Diddy and for the defense team. Capricorn got on that stand and she told it like she knew it, and she made no mistake, and she didn't hide her true personality either. By some accounts, I heard that Capricorn even got on that stand and started cussing. A lot of people aren't used to courtroom etiquette. That's not an excuse, but I'm just explaining to you that Capricorn really showed who she was. She did a phenomenal job during her direct examination, and that was a really good witness for the prosecution. As far as Capricorn's cross-examination was concerned, Capricorn was cross-examined by none other than Diddy's lead defense attorney, Marc Agnifilo. You'll notice that I said that Capricorn was going to be cross-examined by none other than Diddy's lead defense attorney, Marc Agnifilo. The reason I say that is, if you've been keeping up with all these recaps that I've been providing of everything that's happened in Diddy's trial, I just think that Marc Agnifilo has cross-examined 2 or 3 witnesses at this point, and he really hasn't made any headway at all. At all. I don't think that he's Diddy's strongest attorney, despite him being the lead attorney. So the choice on behalf of the defense team to have Marc be the one to cross-examine the strongest witness that has stepped foot on the stand so far is interesting. Let me clarify and provide a disclaimer, because that's what the law is all about, okay? I am not saying that Marc is not a phenomenal defense attorney. This man has been practicing for 3 decades plus, okay? But what I'm saying is, as far as Diddy's whole group of defense attorneys, all 8 or 9 of them, he hasn't proven himself to be the strongest. All of that said, let's get into Capricorn and Clark's cross-examination. During cross-examination, Capricorn testified that she and her attorney met with Marc, Tenny Garagos, and a third one of Diddy's attorneys about the possibility of Capricorn returning to work for Diddy on April 10th of 2024. Quick side note, the attorney that Capricorn Clark showed up with was Brian Friedman. And if you don't know who Brian Friedman is, he's actually currently representing Justin Baldoni in his civil suit against Blake Lively. Capricorn stated that her friendship with Diddy was strictly platonic. After stating this, Capricorn was shown numerous messages where she allegedly texted Diddy in 2021 and stated that she had the biggest crush on him before starting to work for him. When asked about these messages, Capricorn claimed to not remember saying any of that. Capricorn stated that over time, Cassie got a little bit more bravado because she became Diddy's girlfriend. When asked if Capricorn thought Cassie was very talented, Capricorn responded that she thought Cassie had talent. When asked what the difference was, Capricorn explained that Cassie's live performances weren't great. Capricorn stated Diddy gave Cassie more resources than any other bad boy artists. Capricorn stated that she begged Diddy for forgiveness after the firing because she couldn't find work elsewhere. So this is exactly what I mean when I say that Marc Agnifilo just hasn't proven to be the strongest defense attorney on Diddy's team. Marc is a phenomenal attorney, don't get me wrong, but his crosses aren't hitting the way they need to be hitting for this type of case. Okay, so what? Capricorn had a crush on Diddy allegedly back in the day. And what does that disprove? What does that disprove? Does that provide her a motive to be here today? She said she didn't even remember saying that. I think a lot of times Marc gets caught up on questions that I don't think really focus on the overall point. He's not trying to really discredit these people, but more so show that these people have an adoration for Diddy. And it's like, so what? Again, 2 things can be true at the same time. People can admire Diddy. They can love Diddy. They can think Diddy's a phenomenal business person. But he can also have done the things that he's alleged to have done. Sadly, I have to say it again, but I don't think Marc Agnifilo got anywhere with the cross-examination of Capricorn Clark. With Capricorn off the stand, Diddy's 11th day of trial continued on Wednesday, May 28th of 2025. Before the testimony began for this day, the parties argued whether or not a man by the name of Deonte Nash should be able to testify that Cassie told him previously about freak-offs. When asked about the relevance of this information through this witness, AUSA Maurene Comey clarified that Cassie told the jurors that she didn't want to leave her 29th birthday to do a freak-off, and Deonte could corroborate that. Defense argued that Deonte shouldn't be able to testify about that because Cassie didn't mention it during her testimony, and she was unavailable to be recalled as a witness due to her just having her baby. The court at that point took the matter under advisement and stated that it would issue its formal ruling before Deonte took the stand. So I could be mixing matters up and you guys let me know. But my memory, if it serves me well, was that Cassie did testify that Diddy wanted to do a freak-off in the middle of her 29th birthday party. She didn't want to do it, and they left anyway. If my recollection is true, and if what I'm saying is true, because, again, you guys tell me, Deonte should be allowed to testify that Cassie told him the same. Deonte's statement would come in as a prior consistent statement, and let me explain how that works. Here are the 5 different steps that the prosecution must go through in order to introduce this statement through Deonte as a prior consistent statement. First, the declarant of the prior statement must have testified. That's already been established because Cassie testified. Second, the declarant of the out-of-court statement must have been subject to cross-examination about that prior out-of-court statement. Again, if my memory serves me, and Cassie did testify that she didn't want to leave her 29th birthday party to have a freak-off, and defense had an opportunity to cross-examine her about that statement and did so, this has also been met. Third, the declarant's credibility must have been attacked on the stand. Duh! And 4, the declarant's prior statement, the prior consistent statement, must actually be used and helpful to rehabilitate her credibility on which she was attacked. Again, duh. With all of that out of the way, the prosecution called their 18th witness, Christopher Ignacio. I'm not sure why, but I couldn't find which AUSA did his direct examination, but here we go anyway. Christopher has been an officer with the Los Angeles Police Department for 16 years. Christopher stated that he responded to Kid Cudi's home the morning that Diddy allegedly broke in, back in December of 2011. Christopher testified that when he responded, he noticed a black Escalade parked outside of Kid Cudi's home. Christopher further stated when police responded, the Escalade drove away, despite police lights and sirens being on. Christopher testified that he took note of the license plate, but didn't pursue the car because there wasn't a crime at that point. And the most damaging part of Christopher's testimony is that he said when he ran the license plates on that black Escalade, it came back registered to Bad Boy Productions. Christopher further testified that he entered Kid Cudi's home because the door was unlocked and nobody was there. Christopher testified he saw some high-value watches and purses. He testified that some of the items were wrapped, while others were unwrapped. Christopher testified that Kid Cudi eventually returned home, and they filed a trespassing report. Do you see how much emphasis I placed on the fact that Christopher ran the license plates on that black Escalade and realized it was registered to Bad Boy Productions? That is to let you know how crucial I thought Christopher's testimony was. Christopher is another what we'll call foundational witness. He kind of just set the scene. Yes, I ran the license plates of the black Escalade, found out it was registered to Bad Boy Productions, and in essence, that concludes my involvement. The prosecution calling him was so smart, and it made so much sense. He was a great witness for them. The cross-examination of Christopher Ignacio was handled by Diddy's defense attorney, Brian Steele. During cross-examination, I'm going to summarize it as Brian did what defense attorneys do best when officer witnesses are on the stand, and that's attempt to poke holes in his report writing ability. In response to that, Christopher testified that he didn't remember if a gun was involved, but he knew for sure that he didn't write that in his report. Christopher further referenced that he did not mention any property was stolen. My thoughts on Christopher Ignacio's cross-examination. You guys just have to concede and agree with me that I always give Brian Steele his credit because I do believe that he's one of Diddy's strongest defense attorneys. That being said, What did I tell you was the most damaging and crucial part about Christopher Ignacio's direct testimony? The fact that he ran them license plates and realized that the vehicle was registered to Bad Boy Productions. So why not ask him about that? Is it because you can't? There's no way to dispute that. He ran the license plates. That's who it was registered to, right? So I don't know. This cross-examination kind of fell flat for me. And I think this is the first of its kind that I've said that specifically about Brian Steele. After Christopher's testimony concluded, the prosecution called their 19th witness to the stand, Lance Jimenez. AUSA said Christy Slavik did the direct examination on behalf of the government. Just a quick side note, before we get into Lance's testimony, he was previously qualified as an expert in fire cause and origin determination. Lance testified that he responded to Kid Cudi's home on January 9th of 2012 to investigate the fire that was set to Kid Cudi's Porsche. Lance testified that he saw a cut in the roof of the car and burn patterns throughout the seats, center console, interior roofing, and some of the carpet. Lance testified that there was a bottle on the front seat and there was a handkerchief on the center console that was burned. Lance testified he noticed a disposable lighter outside of the car, a couple of feet away from the driver's side. Lance stated that there was severe damage to Kid Cudi's car, but not nearly the kind of catastrophic damage he would normally see from fully operational Molotov cocktails. Lance said that the Molotov cocktail did not cause near the damage it could have. Lance said that the gas didn't spread fire throughout the car because the cloth fell out of the bottle and it didn't shatter, causing only a smoldering fire. Lance said had the firebomb exploded as intended, the car parked a few feet away from the house would have likely spread to the nearby foliage and eventually the home. Lance said someone targeted Kid Cudi's car because it was not easily visible from the street and it was parked in an affluent neighborhood with low criminal activity. Lance did confirm that there was a partial DNA profile consistent with a female contributor that came from the bottle, but he did not know what that meant. It's really important to note that Lance further clarified that he is not a DNA expert, he does not deal with DNA testing and analysis, and he doesn't work with DNA for a living. Lance did testify that Kid Cudi had his home swept for fingerprints after the trespassing incident in December of 2011. Lance said that 2 fingerprints were recovered from the glass front door, and he collected a fingerprint card with those prints for comparison. He testified that the print card was kept with evidence from the arson case, but was later destroyed by an LAPD officer in August of 2012. Lance further confirmed that as the lead investigator, he is the one responsible for signing off on any destruction of evidence. So the court took a break in the middle of Lance's testimony, and it's not uncommon. I haven't told you about all the breaks that the court takes because I don't need to, but generally speaking, the court will take multiple breaks throughout the day, including the lunch break. And during this break, this brief break in Lance's testimony, what happened was actually quite riveting. Diddy's defense attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, moved for a mistrial based on prosecutorial misconduct. Shapiro further clarified that during jury selection, the prosecution gave the jurors the impression that Diddy was a man who could buy his way out of things. At some point during her motion, and I'm not sure where, Alexandra did bring up the fact that the fingerprint cards were now lost. You know, I'm not even sure if the court asked the prosecution to respond before it denied Diddy's defense attorney's motion for a mistrial. In its ruling, the court stated it didn't believe that the jurors were prejudiced, and that it would provide a curative instruction with regard to the fingerprint card. So after denial of the motion for mistrial, Lance retook the stand and was answering a few more questions on direct examination. Lance stated that he made multiple attempts to contact both Capricorn, Clark, and Cassie, but he was unsuccessful. As far as the prosecution calling Lance as an expert witness, I think it was really smart. A lot of people, myself included, okay, can't tell you about things and expertise about stuff that they don't deal with on a daily basis. Like, for example, I couldn't tell you about no origin of no fires, okay? Because I don't know about no fire origin. So I think it was important that the prosecution call Lance to testify about the origin of the fire that was set to Kid Cudi's car. Once again, for cross-examination, We have Diddy's lead defense attorney, Marc Agnifilo. During cross-examination, defense suggested that Lance actually contacted Capricorn Clark in March of 2012 after receiving test results that revealed partial female DNA recovered from the glass bottle. Lance stated that he didn't believe that the timing was related. With relation to the glove, Lance stated that he didn't recall finding a second glove inside Kid Cudi's car. He further stated that he didn't send the glove for DNA testing, nor did he collect it as evidence, because Kid Cudi said it was his driving glove. Lance stated that Capricorn's brother did answer the phone on one occasion when he was trying to get in contact with her and told Lance to leave Capricorn alone. Lance also said he contacted Cassie's daddy on one occasion, and Cassie's father said he'd let Cassie know. If it's important to you guys at all, Cassie's father apparently is a fireman. Okay, so let's go back. I don't know if I mentioned anything about a glove during direct examination, so my apologies. That being said, there was a glove that was found in the rear of Kid Cudi's vehicle, and it wasn't sent out for testing, as Lance stated during cross-examination, because Kid Cudi said it was his driving glove. I'm trying to be fair here. And in fairness, I will say this is probably the best job we've seen Marc Agnifilo do during cross-examination thus far. I think trying to create doubt by asking Lance why the glove wasn't sent out for DNA testing was smooth. I do think it was smooth. But I will also say Lance's response was spot on, because Kid Cudi said it was his driving glove, sir. So I didn't send it for DNA testing. Because even if I sent it off, guess what? His DNA would be on it. It wouldn't really prove anything. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that he did a good job, as in Marc did a good job, trying to poke holes in Lance's testimony. But just in my experience, you don't really get super far trying to poke holes in the testimony of an expert, because they're experts. They're qualified. They do this for a living. They've testified a million times before. They know what you're going to ask before you ask it, and they're well prepared. Following conclusion of Lance's testimony, the prosecution called their 20th witness, Deonte Nash. If you'll remember, earlier in the day, the court said that it was going to take under advisement an issue that came up about Deonte's testimony. Let me just say that I couldn't find where it said the court's exact ruling on this issue, but I will also say that based on Deonte's testimony, I do think that the court allowed him to make that statement about Cassie's 29th birthday. The direct examination of Deonte Nash was handled by AUSA Maurene Comey. Deonte is a celebrity stylist, and he stated that he was there because he was subpoenaed, and when he was asked if he wanted to be there, he responded, absolutely not. Deonte stated he began working with Diddy and Cassie around 2008, and he left a decade later in 2018. Deonte stated he was an intern in the fashion department at Bad Boy Entertainment before becoming a stylist. Deonte stated that on multiple occasions, he heard Diddy tell Cassie that he would beat her ass, and Cassie would become super emotional about these incidents. Deonte stated that Cassie would sometimes cry, or she would stay in her house for days on end. Deonte stated that he heard Diddy making other threats towards Cassie, including telling her that he would not release her music and threatening to get her parents fired from their jobs. Deonte said that he also heard Diddy threaten to release sexually explicit videos of Cassie. Deonte said there was an incident in 2014 where he styled Cassie's hair down, but when Diddy noticed it, he grabbed Deonte by the jacket, lifted him up, and told him that Cassie's hair was supposed to be up. Deonte then stated he asked people for hairpins and told Cassie to go to the bathroom with the other staff for her hair to be fixed. Deonte stated that after they fixed her hair and after Diddy saw it, Diddy then admitted that Cassie's hair did look better down as it was before. Deonte said that Cassie's outfit photos needed to be approved by Diddy. Deonte testified that Diddy attacked Cassie in a rage sometime in 2013 or 2014 when Deonte was helping Cassie pack for a trip. Deonte said he answered the door because Cassie was asleep on the couch. Deonte said that Diddy came in yelling at Cassie about how she allegedly didn't answer her phone. Deonte further testified that he saw Diddy grab Cassie by the hair and start hitting her. Deonte stated at that point that he, Cassie, and Mia ran inside Cassie's bedroom, but Diddy pushed the door open as they tried to lock him out. Just a brief side note, and I'm sure you guys remember this, but Mia is the pseudonym for the person who's testifying anonymously. Deonte said Diddy attacked Cassie by hitting and kicking her until she hit her head on the bed frame. Deonte said that both he and Mia jumped on Diddy's back, but he threw them off. Deonte said that Diddy finally stopped when he noticed blood, because at that point, Diddy just freaked out. Deonte said after noticing the blood, Diddy said, "Look what y'all made me do." Deonte said he called 911 initially, but someone inside the home told him to hang up before the call connected. Deonte further clarified that he couldn't remember who told him to do so. Deonte stated that Diddy then told him he was going to take Cassie to a plastic surgeon with his security guard. Deonte said when he saw Cassie on a video call the next day, she had a gash on her forehead near her eyebrow and it was in stitches. Deonte testified that in 2013 or 2014, Diddy went over to Cassie's apartment saying he wanted to talk to her. Deonte said Diddy went into the bedroom, and when they came out, Diddy grabbed Cassie by her hair, grabbed the back of her shirt, and started pushing her while telling her to get out of his house. Deonte said that Diddy pushed Cassie halfway out the door and then began doing the same to him. Deonte said because Diddy was paying for Cassie's apartment, Deonte understood his statement to mean that he wanted Cassie out of her own apartment that he was paying for. Deonte said Diddy began popping him in the head and grabbing him by the shirt because he didn't have hair for Diddy to pull. Deonte said that he then went downstairs to get in his car, and both Cassie and Diddy came after. Deonte said after Cassie got in his vehicle and he and Cassie started driving away, they got a call from Diddy telling them to pull over. Deonte said during that call, Diddy then told Cassie he was going to release sexually explicit videos of her on the internet. According to Deonte, Diddy then told Cassie he was going to start releasing them on a schedule and start by releasing them to Cassie's parents' jobs. Deonte claimed that Diddy also told Cassie that Diddy was the only one that protected her. Deonte said that Cassie was in tears as the pair eventually did drive away. Deonte said that he told Cassie that if Diddy wanted to release the tapes, she should let him, since Diddy would be on the tapes too. Deonte said at that point is when he realized that Diddy actually wasn't on the tapes, but instead it was Cassie with other men. Deonte said at that point Cassie kind of explained Freakoffs to him and explained that she didn't want to have sex with other men, but Diddy wanted her to. Deonte said that sometime after this, his boss, stylist Derek Roche, called him to say that he had given Diddy Deonte's address. Deonte said that after Diddy received his address, Diddy showed up at his home and searched for Cassie, even looking inside of the oven. Deonte testified about another occasion where Diddy threw him on a parked car and said, "I thought I told y'all about going out. Y'all wildin'." Deonte claims Diddy was talking about how he mentioned earlier that he didn't want Deonte to go out because Cassie would inevitably want to join him. Deonte testified that he saw bruises on Cassie quite often. Deonte said he didn't report the violence out of fear for retaliation. Deonte said that Cassie went with Diddy for hotel stays at least once a week, but she did so reluctantly. Deonte testified that Cassie did not want to leave her 29th birthday party to attend a freak-off with Diddy. I placed emphasis on that statement because, remember, that's exactly what defense didn't want Deonte to testify to, and ultimately he was able to do exactly that. And finally, Deonte testified that he doesn't hate Diddy. So my thought on Deonte's direct examination. I will tell you why in a moment, but I would say that Deonte was just a delight. He was refreshing. He was just someone just super nice to have in the courtroom. Although I didn't tell you guys about this, there was a lot of commentary about how Deonte made jokes. He made the jurors laugh. He loosened up a rather tense situation. He was just someone really kind and delightful to hear from. I think he testified credibly as well, and I think that this was a good government witness. Cross-examination of Deonte Nash was handled by Diddy's defense attorney, Xavier Donaldson. During cross-examination, Xavier asked Deonte if he was considering filing a civil lawsuit against Diddy, and Deonte responded by saying, "No, I'm focused on getting out of here." When asked why he has counsel then, Deonte responded, "I have counsel to protect me. I don't do federal court." It's kind of cute, but consistent with Deonte's personality, him and Xavier got into a little quip because Xavier called Cassie Mrs. Ventura, And Deonte reminded him, no, she married now. Her last name is Fine. Deonte stated that he last spoke to Cassie the day prior to his testimony, and he congratulated her for the birth of her third child. Deonte stated he had seen Cassie take Molly and ecstasy inside of her home at times. Deonte testified that he smokes marijuana, and on one occasion where he was meeting with prosecutors, his meeting got cut short when he told them that he had smoked beforehand. After beginning his cross-examination, the jurors were actually released for the day, and Deonte's testimony was to continue on Diddy's 12th day of trial on Thursday, May 29th of 2025. On continued cross-examination, Deonte testified that Diddy and Cassie were split when she began dating Kid Cudi. Deonte further testified that she offered to set Cassie up with Michael B. Jordan while she was shooting a film in South Africa in 2015. Deonte testified that Cassie was heard about Diddy's relationship with other women. Deonte testified that he was unaware that Cassie's video depicted her having sex with other men until she told him. When Xavier Donaldson tried to point out inconsistencies in Deonte's prior statements to the government, Deonte reiterated, I don't want to be here, okay? I don't want to be here. As far as my thoughts on Deonte's cross-examination, I think much like Carrie Morgan, Deonte was just brutally honest. He said, listen, I don't want to be here, okay? I'm here because y'all decided to involve me, okay? I'm here because this is a federal subpoena, okay? I don't want to be here. So I don't really think that defense made much of a splash in any of the questions that it asked during his cross-examination, and that's just because he was kind of unshakable. He did a really good job overall. After Deonte's testimony concluded, the government called their 21st witness to the stand, Mia. Again, reminding you guys, Mia is testifying under a pseudonym. Maybe you guys might ask me, well, why are some witnesses allowed to be identified and others are allowed to testify under pseudonyms? I think that's personal preference. It's my understanding that the court in this case gave all the witnesses the option to testify anonymously should they choose, and Mia just decided to do that. AUSA Madison Smizer did the direct examination of Mia. It's also important to note that although we don't know who Mia is, the jurors do, because Mia submitted her passport under seal for the jurors to see her real identity and her date of birth. Mia testified that she worked for Diddy as a personal assistant and also as the director of development and acquisitions for Revolt Films. Mia described the work environment as chaotic. She further explained that Diddy has thrown things at her, thrown her against the wall, thrown her into a pool, and thrown a bucket of ice on her head. She claimed that when she was about 25 or 26, she first applied to work for Diddy, and he answered the door for their interview in his underwear. Mia stated she was supposed to work 40 hours per week, but she worked more than that, and although her starting salary was supposed to be $55,000 per year, it was actually only $50,000. Mia testified that oftentimes she worked 5 days straight without any sleep. She testified she wasn't allowed to leave Diddy's home without his permission. She testified that Diddy would often threaten her job, humiliate her, and question her intelligence. She said at one point she was like best friends with Cassie. Mia described the relationship between Cassie and Diddy as toxic and abusive. Mia stated that Cassie had to get her entire look approved by Diddy. Mia stated that Diddy controlled when Mia and Cassie could go do things together. Mia testified that Diddy's security would often show up if Cassie and she didn't answer his calls. Mia testified that Diddy frequently attacked Cassie. Mia testified that during a trip in Turks and Caicos, Diddy attacked Cassie. She said Cassie had bruises, black eyes, and other injuries. Mia testified that she thought Diddy was far too powerful to face consequences from the police. Mia testified that Cassie oftentimes stayed in hotels to hide her injuries from Diddy. Mia testified that Diddy seemed heartbroken when Cassie started dating Kid Cudi. Mia testified that she had to clean up nightmare scenes from Diddy's hotel rooms. Mia testified that Diddy pressured her into snorting ketamine. Mia testified that Diddy ran off with her phone and threatened to use anything he found inside of it against her. Mia testified that Diddy sexually assaulted her on multiple occasions, including one time after his 40th birthday celebration in New York. Mia also testified that Diddy sexually assaulted her again, one time at his LA home. Mia testified that she didn't report the sexual assault because she was ashamed and fearful. Mia's testimony actually brought us into the 13th day of Diddy's trial, which was Friday, May 30th of 2025. Her direct examination continued a little bit at that point, and Mia stated that she didn't want to be anything other than best friends with Diddy, and despite him allegedly sexually assaulting her, she just wanted to keep things really cool with him. Mia also stated that Diddy threatened to tell Cassie about the sexual assault, but kind of blamed Mia for it. Mia testified because of Diddy's rage. She was actually suspended from her job on multiple occasions, but she was so afraid of him, and she didn't tell anyone because of that. Although we weren't able to see exactly who Mia was, in the depictions and the descriptions and everything else I gather from Mia's testimony, it seems like she's coming across really timid. Just really shy, mild-mannered, meek. It's my understanding that Mia oftentimes is testifying by answering with her head down. She's not giving direct eye contact to anyone. She's just scared and shy and nervous to be there. As far as her direct examination testimony is concerned, I will say that Mia offered a lot of corroboration to the things previously said by other people. As far as whether or not the sexual assault or the alleged sexual assault occurred, I don't know. And you don't know either. We weren't there. It is hard for victims of sexual assault to come forward because of situations where they're not oftentimes believed. And in just reading what everyone has said in the media about this case, I think this might be one of those situations. I think overall, Mia is brave to come forward and tell her story. But let's see what happens during cross-examination. Mia's cross-examination was handled by none other than Diddy's defense attorney, Brian Steele. During cross-examination, Mia has shown photos that she posted on social media of her with Diddy after the time she claims that he sexually assaulted her. When asked about the posts, Mia explained that social media is about showing how great your life is, despite that not being the truth. Mia stated she made a scrapbook for Diddy's birthday as well. And finally, Mia testified that leaving Diddy's film company felt like the worst thing in the world. Wow, what a powerful way to conclude the testimony for week 3. When we pick up next time, we'll be discussing the 4th full week of Diddy's trial, which began on Monday, June 2nd of 2025. On that day, Mia will resume the stand for continued cross-examination. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until next time, y'all take care.